When someone is uploading their Backbook documentation, it's often the case that this is saved in a single PDF, which may have a mixture of ISDAs, GMRAs, and CSAs, as well as some files that may not be as relevant. Arc51 can split that document up into its constituent parts, making it much easier to manage. To begin this process, click the Split Documents icon on the homepage. We can then drag and drop our document in. We can then specify what each component document is and the page numbers on which they begin and end. Arc51 will then split the document out into its component parts and start running each of them through its AI data extraction process. So in this example, we can see here that we have a GMRA that begins on page 2. And if we scroll down, we can see that the GMRA section of the file ends on page 47. If we scroll a bit further down, we can see that we have an ISDA master agreement that begins on page 50, and we can see that it ends on page 63. After this, we can see that we have a credit report, which we don't want to include as part of this process. We can then enter the page numbers for the GMRA and the ISDA and give them both individual file names. Now, this is a document that I made earlier for the purpose of demonstration, so I know that there are actually 4 documents in total that we'd like to extract from this PDF. So we're also going to add the information for the CSA and the GIMSLA that are also contained within this file. Arc51 will then begin to split the document into separate pieces and run it through our AI data extraction engine. Once they're all done, we can take a look at the documents. Let's take a look, for example, at the GMRA. We can see here that the document has undergone the normal data extraction process, and Arc51 has correctly completed the document details using AI. Arc51 has also determined that the schedule of this document begins on page 28 and ends on page 46, and we can click the arrows beside each of these numbers to double check this. Once we're happy with the initial data that's been extracted from the document, we can click Complete. Arc51 will now perform a deeper AI data extraction on the file. And we can see here the rest of the documents that Arc51 has pulled out of that initial file. We've essentially broken down the document into its relevant component parts and removed all of the noise. And what you're left with is just the documents that are relevant to you, so you can better manage your documentation. And we can see here that the deep data extraction has already completed on the GMRA document. If you'd like to learn more about how Arc51 can transform the way that you manage your documentation, get in touch today.